Today we're talking about the importance of practice mode for traders. We're going to look at a number of ways in which this is useful. We'll look at some actual examples. We'll also talk about how this is useful, not just for beginners, but for all types of traders. Hello, I'm Peter Martin with Trading 212, and we add videos like this to YouTube regularly. If you click on the subscribe button and the alarm bell icon, then you'll get a notification whenever we put out a new video. Well, Trading 212's trading apps have a practice mode. And this is useful, not just if you're a beginner, but also if you've already got quite a lot of experience. And that's because it's always useful to be able to try things out in a zero risk environment. Trial and error is a great way to learn, but it's not suitable if it's a risky environment. You want to be able to try things out, but you're going to be handcuffed if there's actual money on the line. And if there is actual money on the line, if you might make a loss, if you make a mistake, then you're going to feel very restricted in what you're able to try out. It's a little bit analogous to learning to fly, or a pilot who's already got quite a lot of experience trying out a new jet. You're not just going to go out and try it for real. You're going to be much better off to get in a simulator, try everything out there until you're completely happy that you know what you're doing. And practice mode can be useful for trying out new features in the app. It can be useful for trying out a new market for the first time, or it can be useful for experimenting with new types of strategy. So let's now take a look at a few examples to illustrate this a bit further. So here we are in Trading 212's web app, and I'm already in practice mode, as you can see up here where it says CFD practice. If we wanted to switch over to real money mode, we could just click here and select switch to real money. So in practice mode, we have the peace of mind, the freedom to click anywhere in this app. Anything we see, we can click on and know that nothing adverse can affect our account. So first of all, even if you've traded a lot before with another app, another platform, there may be aspects here that you're unfamiliar with or may not function exactly as you anticipate. So practice mode gives you a great opportunity just to shake out any potential surprises, any unexpected behaviors. And that's useful because sometimes you can assume something works a certain way and not be right about it. So here you can actually find out with zero risk, so you can avoid operating under a false assumption when it comes to real money. And that applies to trying out any functionality, not just dealing functionality. For example, if we were looking at our watch list on the left of the screen here, there's a button at the bottom that says auto close. You assume that maybe it's not to do with dealing, but if we were using real money, if I was in real money mode, I might be a little hesitant to touch that unless I knew for sure what it does. But since we're in practice mode, no sweat, I can play around and see for myself what it does with a little experimentation, and therefore allows me to get a quick and easy answer to the question of what does this do? So if we just click on the chart here with it switched off, it doesn't do anything. We switch on auto close, click on here, and it automatically closes our watch list. If we wanted to get back to it, we have to click there. So that's all that does. But as I say, just allows you very easily to get the answer of what that is just by trial and error by yourself. Now, another way we might want to experiment is with trading in a way we haven't before. We're using bits of trading functionality that you may not be familiar with. So if I go to euro against US dollar here, let's say that I normally trade over the medium term, looking at daily timeframes like we have here, and I place stop losses. That's an appropriate distance away for that time frame. But let's say that I want to try out dealing in a much shorter time frame. So let's say we go to a 1 minute chart, and I'm thinking about using much tighter stop losses as a consequence. I want to experiment a little to see if that seems an appropriate thing to do. I just want to see how it turns out. So let's have a look at this. We can see the market's been heading lower. So let's try and sell it, and we'll put a stop loss as close as we can to up here. So let's open the detailed trade box, click on sell, and put in a deal size of 10,000. It's a pretty small trade. And then we're going to put in a stop. So the market's down at about 111.32. We want to put our stop as close as we can, 111.38. Let's put it 10 pips. That'll be a bit further than that. Risking under a tenner. Let's click confirm sell. So we haven't got any fear putting this trade through, just as an experiment. Here we have it at the bottom of the screen. If we hadn't used the app before, this would allow us to familiarize ourselves with the functionality of using stop losses and maybe limits. So we can see our position, what we're risking, where our stop is. If we double click on this, then we open up this dialog window And we can see we've got various tabs here. So one of them is trailing stops. So we've discovered, if we haven't used this before, that there's more functionality here, trailing stops that we could play around with again. Profit or loss shows us our existing take profit or stop loss. So I haven't got a take profit because I didn't put on a limit, but here is our stop loss, and we could just move it further away perhaps, just to risk a bit more. And then maybe we want to just see what it's like to close a trade if we haven't done that before. We click there. Then we've gone through the whole process of opening and closing a position. We know how that all works without actually having to risk any money in trying to gain, in the process of gaining that knowledge. And then finally, you might just want to try out a market you've never traded before. Once again, using practice mode allows you just to have a dry run at it. So let's have a look and click on here. And let's say that we wanted to get involved in Ethereum against the US dollar. It might be one we haven't traded before. And we just want to see how things sort of pan out if we took a position. It's obviously you could just watch Ethereum, but it's not quite the same as having a position where you can see profit and loss tick around. But it's useful to just dip your foot in the water in a simulated way. We're not actually risking money. So let's once again open a detailed trade box and put in 100 and we'll buy some. So there we go. And we could over the next few days see how the market behaves, watch our profit or loss, and just get a feel for this market where we are simulating taking a position, which can be useful, as I say, as a nice dry run, as a way of familiarizing yourself with a new market. So that was a look at using practice mode in the web app, but don't forget you can download for free native mobile apps for both iOS and Android, and you'll find links to those in the video description. I hope you enjoyed this video taking a look at the importance of practice mode. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button and give us a like. Why not let us know what you think by sending us a message in the comments section. We do read each one. But that's all for now from me, Peter Martin, and Trading 212. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.